Hi guys, Michelle Visser here, author of Sweet Maple and podcast host of the Simple Doesn't Mean Easy podcast. And you can find everything I do organized over on soulyrested.com. So today is the 5th and final week of our pantry challenge going on with Ruth Ann Zimmerman and myself. And my contribution today is a pantry staple you can make yourself so much better and so much cheaper than an energy bar that you buy at the store. These are Copycat Larabars. This particular flavor is my favorite. This is brownie double chocolate. Oh my goodness, they're so good. I think it's 7 ingredients. It's a lot more because I wanted the brownie flavor, but you can do a Larabar knockoff in as little as 3 ingredients. This though is made with all real food. Every ingredient in there is something that is real, that you know of, that you can pronounce. And the best part to these Larabars, let me show you how good they are. The best part to these is that they are made with only complex sugars, only real sugars. And what that means is that the dates and the coconut sugar that is used to sweeten the chocolate chips in it, they're real sugars, and your body can process them in such a way that it doesn't spike your glucose level. So both of them keep your glucose level at a very manageable low level, and they don't cause those crazy spikes that are really the problem when it comes to sugar. So they give you the energy without those spikes in your blood sugar, and they're absolutely delicious. So join me, let's go get the ingredients and get started. These ingredients are ones that I seem to always have on hand, and they're all on my pantry checklist. In fact, read the description for how you can instantly download my pantry checklist if you'd like to see those ingredients that are really important to me in a real food kitchen. And I find if I always have these things on hand, real food is much more convenient and much more possible. I source almost everything, maybe everything. I'm looking at my ingredients here. Most of my ingredients I source from Azure Standard for this recipe. I do get my salt directly from Redmond, but you can actually get this from Azure as well. And I picked up my walnuts at my local store, and same with my coconut oil. Everything else I actually did get from Azure. Read the description for what Azure Standard is and more details on why they are my go-to for so many ingredients. I've already melted my coconut oil and my portion of my chocolate chips. Some of the chocolate chips get melted, some get mixed in. I have my food processor ready. Let's start by chopping up the nuts. You don't have to use these 2 kinds of nuts. You can use whatever nuts you guys, your family prefers. But I have 2 cups of walnuts, and I'm going to measure out a little under a cup of cashews. Probably, let's see, this is a half cup. So let's do about 3/4. The cashews, actually, you know what? They are much smaller than my walnuts. Now that I think about it, I'm going to take some of these out because the walnuts I'm going to blend first since they are such bigger chunks. Now they're about the same size as my cashews. And I'm going to do 3/4 a cup. Cashews, a little bit more, and mix those up. You want them to be a nice crumble consistency. Just a few more seconds. Perfect. Okay, now that the cocoa or the cacao is mixed in well with your coconut oil, that can go in. Need to get a spatula. Don't want to waste any bit of these wonderful ingredients, so I always scrape well. Now for the chocolate chips, like I said, about half of them are melted and the rest I'm going to add in. Sometimes I also just stick the chocolate chips on top after it's molded. So this is the melted chocolate, and I made this from these chocolate chips made by Azure Standard that are made with coconut sugar. Like I said at the beginning, that's important to me because it does not cause a spike in your blood sugar level because it's a complex sugar. And that makes a sugar so much better, a better choice for you anytime because you're not going to get those crazy sugar highs. Okay. Once you've added all the chocolate and the coconut oil, you can add your dates. Now for this, if you want to measure it out, you certainly can. It's 8 ounces. It's probably about 1.5 cups of dates. And I need a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. You can use regular salt. In that case, you might want to use a little bit less than a 1/4 teaspoon. But I like the kosher because you get the bursts of salt, which just makes a little extra yummy. I always use Redmond because you're getting your added minerals. There's an added 60+ trace minerals in the Redmond salt, and it's unrefined. I will leave a link in the description of a podcast interview with Redmond Real Salt, and it's absolutely fascinating if you'd like to know more about salt. I should explain that kosher does not mean blessed by a rabbi for Jewish food. Kosher actually is referring to the size of the salt granules. So a kosher salt is just a larger granule. So now we just need to pulse this together. You want to mix it until you get something that sticks together well. In a nice kind of it can form a ball, and then you know you're ready. It's not quite sticking yet. The dates aren't quite mixed up. Now you have it sticking together. So now you're ready to roll it out. If you would like, you can certainly line an 8x8 baking pan with parchment paper, and then you kind of have a guide for how thick your bar turns out. But I would rather just press it out myself to get it the thickness that I want it. So I'm not limited to whatever size pan I've chosen. I forgot the chips, guys. I just realized. I forgot to measure out another few cups of chips to put in it. So I'm going to put them on top. It is quite sticky, but that's the consistency that you want. That makes for a really nice, thick, chewy energy bar. And when I said roll out, that really wasn't the right word to use. Press out, I guess, is the better way to describe it. Like I said, if you really want a beautiful edge, you can certainly use a baking pan. Now, this is going in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes. You can also put it in the fridge for 30 to 45 minutes. Either way, it'll be just the right texture then to slice it up and store it away. Okay, here we go. I think it was about 12 minutes in the freezer, and they are ready to be cut into bars. And slide them off my tray. I want to reuse my parchment paper, so I'm actually going to peel that off and cut these on a cutting board. But you can see how nice and perfectly compact it is. If I wanted these to be beautiful, I could trim the edges, but appearance is not really what I'm going for. I want nutrition and deliciousness. Convenience is nice too. Oh, and this needs to be cut. So let's see how many bars we got. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Not bad. These store really well in the refrigerator. They keep for weeks, but they're really delicious, and you should probably plan on them not lasting more than a day or two.